Alright, ahead of time, I'm going to apologize a little bit for the audio quality. Just going to do the best I can, so apologies if the audio is a little bit off. So this is an update on the House of Dragons, which apparently is going to be moving forward. But unlike what many people think, it's actually not going to focus, at least at the beginning, on Aegon Targaryen. They're actually going to focus on Damon Targaryen, who's the brother of Aegon, and the story, at least for the first season, is going to focus more on Damon than on Aegon. Now, we don't really know that much about Damon because it's only really little scattered pieces that we get much information from him. Probably Fire and Blood is the most extensive that we've taken a look from at him. But again, we have to remember that's unreliable narration, so a lot of material, even in that book, is sort of a big question mark. It may not really be reliable, and we have to take it with a sort of grain of salt. So we're going to be focusing on Damon, and of course how they're the beginning of the conquest of the Targaryens of not just Westeros but other lands. And of course we're going to see a lot of the dragons and their interrelationships. Obviously the Targaryens are into incest, and so we're going to get a lot of those kind of relationships in House of Dragon. And we're already getting some news on the casting, but again, we have to be careful. Again, these are just rumors and leaks, but they're looking at Jamie Bell, who recently played a Nazi in a film, and Mark Strong. You probably don't recognize Mark Strong. He's been in a couple of things, but he's not a big name actor that they could have gotten. But, you know, he sort of physically fits the description of Damon, who's pretty sturdy and muscular. Right, he's very good with the sword, can ride horses, and he's a little bit older, from 35 to 45, so apparently they're going to be very, very physically close to what's in the books. But what's curious, apparently, for some of the casting of the women, they may not be literal in terms of who they're going to get for those characters. So they're sort of a little bit all over the place in terms of who they're going to cast and for what reason. Now, it may seem a little bit of a puzzle because you've sort of heard that almost everywhere Hollywood productions have shut down. But there are some places like Australia that have actually done a pretty good job of weathering the crisis. So I imagine that they're already scouting locations and maybe shooting some things there, and they'll just sort of try to fit that or harmonize it, because they usually shoot in Europe. That's where they shot most of Game of Thrones, was in Europe because of tax breaks. But Australia now, as far as I know, is almost completely free of diseases. So in terms of where it would be safe to shoot, they may do something in Australia. Again, I don't have any insider knowledge. I'm just saying, logically speaking, that would make the most sense. So again, this has been an update on House of Dragons. I've got to say, I'm not all that interested in it because I don't care too much about the Targaryens. I do want to know a little bit more about the prequel history and some of their Targaryens, but I'm not especially interested in. The change of focus is interesting, but I don't know if it's going to convince me to actually see the show. Alright, this has been GRRM and Thrones Analyzed on an update on House of Dragons. If you like the content, please hit the like button and or subscribe. Thank you for listening. Please be safe.